I want this to be a community for small businesses, supported by small businesses, inspired by small businesses. Hi, greetings everyone. My name is Giselle Michelle, and welcome again to this is the second episode now of CEO Corner, presented to you by iCatalyst Consulting. And I think as I spend more time thinking about what I want this site to be. So first of all, forgive me, I keep calling it a website. I'm so used to website, but it's this platform, this channel. So forgive me if I happen to call it a website, and you know what I mean by when I say that. I mean this channel. But the more time I think about that I spend thinking about this channel and what I want it to be for you, and how I want my voice to be differentiated in terms of the information and how I want to present the information to you, the more that I think about what I do best. And really, what I do best is to help people think better. And so while I want to provide resources and other voices that help to create a learning community for all of us, and especially for you who I hope will keep tuning in, I the point of view that I want to have relative to how the information is presented is really from the perspective of providing you a way to think better about how you do business. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Because, the work that I do, the work that people pay our company for, is as a management consultant. And the best that I can do and the zenith for me in terms of what I can best do for someone else is really to help them sort of take something from sort of what's in between here, bring it out, and help them look at it 360, so that we can together sort of figure out where the kinks are, right? And then put it back and in such a way that it works better. So this is kind of what I want this channel to be as well. This space to be a place that allows you to get information in such a way that it makes you think better about what you do, and think more strategically in particular about what you do. All right, so that's the charge that I'm putting for myself as we move forward on this platform. Today, I want to focus our attention a little bit on the idea of change, right? Changing, particularly as we look at what the world will look like and opportunities for businesses will look like post-pandemic. So during the past year, according to Bloomberg Business online, over 500,000 new businesses were created in the US alone, right? Over 500,000 businesses. Now, I believe that as we are beginning to charter a course globally and certainly nationally to open up again, I think the numbers are going to rise in terms of the number of people who decide to take the entrepreneurial route. Now, this could be for many reasons. One the economy just for whatever reason, is not accommodating of the kinds of business opportunities that people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s even, who left jobs during the pandemic, or who were let go, who were furloughed, and now are looking at, sort of getting back on track with their careers, are saying, gosh, I think I want a greater balance between what my work life looks like and my home life. And if those opportunities cannot be found, they're going to create it, because they're within that range that of age and opportunity and experience, that sort of can say, what, I'm gonna do it on my own. Another reason why people might want to take this time as we're reopening up the world to go into businesses for themselves is because, frankly, we have just experienced a time where we've had to go through a lot of introspection and consideration for, who we are, how we show up in the world, how we walk our walk in the world, what kind of opportunities we have created for ourselves, we've taken advantage of or not, and are saying, life is short. Life is short. More importantly, life is unpredictable, right? And something that happens 12,000 miles from where I am can affect me the next day and change my life from night to day. And so I need to take a chance on myself right now. And so those people can say to themselves, all right, I'm going to jump in the fray. I'm going to follow my passion. I've had this dream, I've had this yearning for X many years now, and I think it's time to just jump in and see what I can do about it, right? So for a lot of those reasons, I think a number of people, a lot more people, are going to jump into the fray of entrepreneurship in the next couple of years, particularly as we re-enter post-pandemic. Now, as you do that, and frankly, for those of you who are already in business, however many years it's been, I think this is a really interesting time and a really good opportunity to begin asking, what is the world going to look like for my business as we start to reopen the doors, right? Let's take a look at an example, because examples are usually pretty helpful for people to help think things through. Let's say that you were in the food service business or the catering business, and doing very, very well, but a lot of that business, frankly, would have come from big events and even small events, right? Business lunches, and you had a lot of corporate clients. Well, the world is gonna be a little different, right? As we're opening up. First of all, a lot more people are going to be working from home. And so the idea of having these meetings, is going to be much less. So what are you going to do to reposition yourself and your business to now address this huge gap that's going to be happening with respect to your client base, right? Yes, businesses are going to be reopening, but a number of people are going to choose to work from home. The way office space is going to be used is, for the most part, from what the trends are saying, are going to kind of run like a hotel, for lack of a better word, meaning that, you're going to be, people are going to be calling in, essentially, reserving a space for them to work that day, that week, or that, more particularly that day, right? Because there are client meetings coming up. They need access to conference rooms, so they need a bigger space. They need back office kind of supplies and stuff that it takes to bring a meeting on, especially if you have major client, multiple folks coming, etc., right? And usually and perhaps there are going to be monthly meetings, right? Monthly departmental meetings or whatever. So during that time, once a month, when a group of people are going to be convening, is very different than, having people convening every day, or whether they meet all the time or not, but they're certainly passing each other down the hallway, and opportunities could be had to have lunch brought in, and you're not going to have, frankly, that as a business owner who catered to those kinds of business opportunities. There's going to be a gap in your income stream. What are you going to do, and how are you going to make up for that gap? How are you going to reposition your business so that you can better stabilize yourself, right? Let's say, still keeping with the eatery theme, let's say you had a cafeteria downstairs, right? A small cafe. And you were located in an office building, at major downtown, which is, very busy, pre-pandemic. People were coming in on their way upstairs, so they'd grab a cup of coffee, they'd get some baked goods, or, if you offered portable breakfasts, sandwiches or something, they'd pick one up, and then say 10 o'clock or so, they'd come back downstairs for another cup of coffee. Even if they don't need the coffee, it was just an opportunity to stretch their legs, leave their space, and just kind of get some fresh air, right? So your business downstairs, they'll get a pack of gum, right? They don't need anything, but it's there. They'll go. They're bored. It gives them something to do. You're still getting some earnings, right? From those exchanges, from those transactions, right? Lunchtime, you pivot. You offer, you have a full array of soups and sandwiches and fruits and whatever else people eat during lunch. And for those people who may not want to go down the street to other restaurants, or they just want a quick turnaround on something, a good number of people in that building will likely utilize your services for that lunch, right? Again, think about a 3 o'clock break. Just kind of the body's natural way of kind of, taking a break during the day to think, to explore, to de-stress. And, or sometimes, let's say you offered catering, right? And some of the businesses know that. You would cater small business meetings or whatever coming up. Again, because people will be working, a lot of people, I should say, will be working from home in the immediate future until things turn around, because we are always operating in a cycle. But for the time being, you know, a lot of people will be working from home until we find kind of whatever is that new normal for us. What does that do for your business that used to be downstairs, right? You can reopen for certain, but the kind of income that you had counted on pre-pandemic is not going to be the kind of income you can expect post-pandemic, simply only because you're not going to have the foot traffic that supports it. So you, as a business owner, even though you're not going to be changing what you're offering, you need to start thinking about how to accommodate for the change that your business is going to be encountering. Otherwise, you're not going to sustain the business, right? So if you are offering business supplies, or you are offering business travel, right? All of those services are going to be affected in the immediate future. They are still going to be necessary to a degree, but not to the extent that they had been before. So how do you, as a business owner, pivot beyond the emergency of the pandemic, right? That made you continue to do what you did, but just went inside, if you will, to do it. Just went digitally to do it. But how do you re-strategize, remodel your business concept, not just from a response perspective, but from a kind of repositioning perspective, so that you can succeed, prosper, thrive in this new world that we are beginning to understand? Those are really important questions for you. So the issue is not just whether or not you have a really good product or a really good service, but it's how are you going to get that product and service to the market, given the transition that is currently happening in the habits of human beings in the world. So the fact that you would still have to market is still there. The fact that people still would need to know your goods and services is still there. But organizationally, internally, the way you position yourself to now attract this market, to offer your services, given the change that is happening in terms of human habits, human convenience, is going to be critical. It's going to be critical. So it's not surprising to hear that in a report, I don't know if I'd mentioned this before, but in a report by the Pew Research Center called Emerging Change, the report is written by JANNA ANDERSON, RAINIE and EMILY VOGELS. It's a Pew tends to do research. Their information, whether it's an article, whether it's this, that, and the other, they tend to be very much research based. You know, talking about, you know, what we have to look forward to sort of in the immediate future, right? Emerging change. And one of the respondents in their report, Larry Irving, he's the former head of the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. And he says the new normal will include using technology more extensively for most facts about American life. I dare say for most facts about human life, right? But let's, if we focus only on American life, certainly that, particularly around education, remote learning, medical diagnostics, news, information, entertainment, and for business and commercial activities. The world is changing. In fact, earlier today I was speaking to a friend who lives in France, and today is a holiday, happens to be a holiday in France. What is the date of today? Today is the 24th of May. Excuse me. And so those of you who live in France know that it's a holiday. However, what she was saying to me was that, you know, they had a delivery. She had ordered a desk for a home office, and the desk arrived today. And she was shocked. French woman that she was shocked. She said, I couldn't believe that on a holiday we had a delivery, because someone actually had to work to deliver this desk. So in days prior, there is no way the French really honor their holidays, right? They are sacrosanct. But we have a changing world. We are in a changing world. We don't know yet what that change ultimately is going to look like on the other side. But this idea of human convenience, this idea of ease of service and ease of product delivery, ease of life, in some ways, because on the one hand there is ease of life, but then on the other side there's the person who has to work to get you the easiness of that life, right? So that's a whole other conversation. But nevertheless, the world is changing, and as business owners, as leaders in that space, it is important that you too sort of put on your hat, your thinking hat, and try as much as possible to get in front of that change. So even if you fully, because, you know, let's face it, I mean, you know, even for the knowledgeable folks who are in the field of research and understanding what the world is going to look like, and futurism. Sorry, I have my notes here. You know, not all those people know either, right? I mean, before so the article that I referenced from Pew Research said, it was published on the 18th of February 2021. And one of the knowledgeable sources said that business travel will be curtailed, which is true, but the airline business will shrink, right? Try to get on any plane right now and see how much you're paying for a ticket. See whether there's space next to you to stretch your legs. While business travel may shrink for the time being, leisure travel has escalated to huge numbers, or by huge numbers, because people are just fed up. They want to travel, they want to leave their space. They have been living at home in their backyards, if they've been lucky enough to have a backyard. They just want out. They want out, they want to go anywhere, right? So the travel industry is not necessarily shrinking. At least it's not as of this writing, as of this viewing, or as of this recording. It's not necessarily shrinking. Parts of it are, business travel is, but leisure travel is doing perfectly fine. So as people who are in charge of business processes, it's important for you to really be strategic about where you are in running that business. Don't just think about how best to perfect your product. That's fantastic and that's great. But also think about how you are going to, if you've lost market share, how you're going to recover that market share. If there is definitely this change going on, how can you position your business to best take advantage of this change in human in human tendencies, right? How can that advantage your business? So let me know. I would love to hear what you think. I would love to hear what you have been thinking about relative to this particular topic. How has this pandemic affected how you run your business? And have you begun to think about, now that we are slowly reopening or quickly reopening, depending on where you are in the world, now that we are reopening, how are you going to position yourself to best take advantage of, the new norms that are currently playing themselves out? I would love to hear from you. And also, please drop a note. Let us know, whether you'd like your business to be one of the businesses featured and interviewed. And what topics you'd like us to cover, right? What problems are you having? What issues are you facing? And how can we help you think those through? And I think this is how best I think we could be of service to you, right? We, meaning me and my team. We, meaning all the folks who will read and hopefully give their opinion, share their voice, share their experiences, share their opinion, so that all of us can move forward, right? So please subscribe. The more you subscribe, the more numbers we get, the more people get to hear about you and your business. And I think ultimately, that's the best service of all. Subscribe, like, share, and click the notification button. Until next time, I thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from your end of things. Bye-bye.